people to get complacent and think that we have gotten to the end of the road. This is just one more step on the road to good governance in the Turks and Caicos Islands. As a people, we have a responsibility to preserve the integrity of our country. We have an obligation to reject all misguided attempts to deflect us from the issues at hand. We have an obligation to perform our patriotic duty to be forthright and forthcoming with any information that we believe may be pertinent to any commission of inquiry. We have to be completely honest and transparent in all of our deliberations and in all of our dealings. The media also has a role to play. The media, as informers and shapers of public opinion in our country, has an obligation to be fair and responsible and to ensure that there's full disclosure and full information made available to all the people of our country. In conclusion, we simply say that the committees, we stand by every single thing that we have submitted to the Foreign Affairs Committee. As the Foreign Affairs Committee themselves have stated, everything that we have said to them has been substantiated by documentary evidence and also by corroborating testimony from those that have been afraid to disclose their names and to disclose their identities. But for all of those that are fearful, for all of those that feel threatened, for all of those that feel that the government is going to victimize them, we say to you that your People's Democratic Movement will stand in the gap for you. We stand ready to fight the fight. We stand ready to stay the course, and we will not be deterred. We will, irrespective of the threats that may be hurled against us or anyone else, we are committed to honesty, integrity, openness, and transparency. We are committed to good governance in the Turks and Caicos Islands. The government have already begun in their response, and they will continue to come with mistruths, misrepresentation of other facts, with a view to seek to influence you and to misguide you. But we simply say that we remain undaunted and we remain committed to the highest levels of integrity and public life. Our goal is to create a better Turks and Caicos Islands because we know that tomorrow can be better than today. We know that we have a personal responsibility to make that happen. So we look forward for a better Turks and Caicos Islands for all, where liberty, justice, equality, and opportunity for all are the order of the day, where integrity, accountability, and transparency are what is expected of government rather than things we simply talk about. To create that better day, we cannot hide our heads in the sand and ignore where we are right now. We must clean the dirt that has been created and create an environment where it never happens again. Then and only then can we expect persons from the outside world to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the governance of our country is reflective of the honesty and integrity that exists in our citizens. We thank you and ask for God's blessings on our Turks and Caicos Islands. We now open the floor for questions from members of the press. Press doesn't have any questions today?
Do you know, have they given any word? I know it's a recommendation now as to when they will ask actually announced if it will grant the commission that grant?
Excuse me?
Has there been any official timeline?
No, at least as far as I know, the recommendation it has been a recommendation that it occurs before the new governor comes, but it is exactly that, a recommendation. It has, no decision has made, at least that has been communicated to us. If a commission of inquiry is going to take place, number one, and if so, when it will.
Well, I know your party has been in support of the Commission of Inquiry, but what is your next plan of action once the inquiry is complete? What is the PDM party's plan of action once the inquiry is complete? If it is, yes.
To get, number one, to get the commission, we want to begun to begin with. Angie, our issue is simple. Governance of the Turks and Caicos Islands ought to be about empowering the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands. When you've been elected to public office, that is a sacred trust where you have been placed in such an esteemed position of responsibility to govern this country and govern the assets and livelihoods, do things that impact on the livelihoods of the people of our country. When people abuse that trust for their own self-enrichment, when they behave inappropriately, and when the form of governance and their decisions is completely contrary to the moral ideals and honesty and integrity that exist in the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands, then the governance of the country is contrary to the ideals of the people, and that is where it is wrong. And so our view is simply this, that where people have done wrong, it needs to be exposed and the appropriate action needs to be taken to those persons. There are those that will want to hide what has happened, but we find that completely inappropriate. If you have an animal that has died in your yard or in your house, it's important. If you don't remove it, that stench pervades the entire neighborhood. The stench of corruption is impacting on the livelihoods of every Turks and Caicos Islander, because there are legitimate business people out there that are not doing business in this country because of the stench of corruption. For us to get out there and say that the Turks and Caicos Islands has a government that subscribes to the highest ideals of integrity and openness and transparency, we've got to deal with the problem. We've got to get rid of what is causing that stench. We've got to get rid of the corruption. We've got to get rid of that dead animal. And then we can say, come in and see what we have to offer. But when we try to sweep it under the rug, even though it may not be in plain sight, the scent is still there. And that is what we seek to accomplish. As patriots of the Turks and Caicos Islands, we want to make sure that not only today or tomorrow, but 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years from now, people can say with certainty that when they do business in the Turks and Caicos Islands, they know that the government handles them fairly, they know that there's honesty and integrity in public life in Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Turks and Caicos Islands can be held as a shining example of what is right in this world and what is right in our Caribbean region.
And